Hey there, this is Ragnon, and just doing a quick video on a 10 Ecodome. The point of this video is I wanted to talk about mana. I've had a lot of questions about how to manage mana and people complaining that their mana feels really bad in Mythic Plus. So this is the talent build I'm running, and I thought for concept what I would do is up until the first boss, I want to showcase a way of playing that I think lots of people fall trap to, whether they realize it or not. Everybody in their mind knows that they should be pushing Life Bloom and Flow and all that stuff, but when it comes down to it, a lot of reasons that people struggle with mana is they don't actually do that. So I'm going to demonstrate here at the beginning. I'm going to be playing incorrectly. I'm instead not going to use Life Bloom and Flow at all, and I want you to see how this actually creates problems. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be responding to damage with the thought process of, well, if people are likely to take damage, then I need to be spamming rejuves into them. If they are taking damage, then I need to be casting regrowth. I need to be casting wild growth on cooldown just to make sure everybody's topped up and ready. I'm just refreshing, keeping my rejuves topped up. I'm sure that this is the way that a lot of people either unintentionally play or they don't even realize that they're doing it. So I'm just keeping double rejuves on everybody. Here I'm going to go ahead and swift mend the tank because he's taking damage. I'm going to heal myself with regrowths. Okay, and you can notice my mana is draining. We're still chaining through the first pull and I'm at half mana. So, just looking forward into the video, I am going to be fixing this after the first boss. I'm just using these first few trash pulls to prove a point, and then I'll show you afterwards how your mana can improve once you actually start playing it correctly with the correct rotation, adding in Life Bloom, Flow. So one big reason why this is so inefficient is because your spells are so gutted. They're neutered without their support. Having Flow and Life Bloom have so many different synergies across your talents that just make all of your spells go further. So regrowth by itself, a rejuve by itself, it's unsupported. It really does not do a whole lot. So in order for them to actually start keeping people, I mean, nobody's died. I've been able to keep everybody up, but the only way I've been able to do that is by putting out lots and lots and lots of pots. That way I've got good stacks of mastery so that when I regrowth, somebody actually gets topped. I'll show here, I'm not going to push any rejuves, I'm just going to only regrowth. Unfortunately, some of these still need to fall off, but I'll show you what it looks like. Hopefully I take some damage here. Regrowth's unsupported. You can see how little that heals. I'll heal the tank. Watch this. Regrowth did nothing. Thunderforge needs to heal. Regrowth, nothing. It's like, it's pathetic. Now, your subsequent regrowths do a little bit more because you have that talent where it has an increased chance to crit if they already have a regrowth on them. But if I was just regrowthing here, you can see how ineffectual my spells are. Okay, so I can amp that up a little bit with rejuves, but that's really not... That's a little band-aid. That's not going to do a whole lot compared to actually using your Life Bloom and Flow and stuff. So here I got 26% mana. I could let everybody, sit and watch me drink and stuff like that, but I'm going to prove a point. I'm going to go into this. Let's say that I did not want to do that. I'm just going to make the group keep going.
Apotheosis in 15.
I've got some time here, so let's throw in a little bit of damage. Let's throw in some light damage. And let's start rejuving. Another reason that I kind of want to keep going like this is because I want to showcase that even if I go completely with doing the correct rotation, it's pretty much mana positive. So, especially in a 10. So I'm gonna keep going until I run out of juice here. So there's no healing to be done. I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit more DPS. Arc skin this. Okay, he's taking damage. I need rejuice. Oh, he's still taking damage. It's regrowth. I need to heal myself. I'm in danger. Regrowths. More regrowths into this guy. Top him up. Okay, and Devour's coming up. I'm going to go ahead and ramp the group. I'm out of mana, but we're going to try to struggle our way through this until this is done. So I'm going to go ahead and do an Empowered Wild Growth. Oh no! Beast. I'm going to use Convoke here. Okay, and I'll call that From here on, I'm going to go ahead and play correctly. So I'm going to get my Efflo out, get my 2 Life Blooms, and there's no healing that needs to be done, so I don't need to be blanketing the group with rejuves. In fact, for the rest of the dungeon, I am going to not press any rejuves unless they're randomly cast by Convoke, because I think that's something that I did recommend in my beginner guide. And yes, I wanted to showcase that that is something. Oops. That's something that can help you, you know, respond to damage and stuff like that, rather than spending the time worrying about DPS. My point with all that is that people get way too caught up on kitty weaving, and they feel like that's something that they have to do, but you don't. And so you could spend that time prepping the group and stuff like that with rejuves until you learn the dungeon pool, but that is a very inefficient way to play. And once you learn the dungeons, you can learn where you don't need that. And so, to prove my point, I'm going to play mana efficiently, and I'm also going to not push any rejuves for the rest of the key. At least I'm going to try not to. If I habitually push one, I'm sorry. But I want to showcase that with correct life blooms, with correct Efflos, cooldown usage, Cenarian Ward, you can respond to damage just fine and still have time to catweave and stuff. So, here I'm getting out some bleeds while we're pulling. I'm going to go ahead and Sin Ward, Barkskin, and Life Bloom the tank. Let's get our second Life Bloom out just so we can start harvesting those clear casting procs. I got my Grove Guardians. I'm going to use these Grove Guardians to give me time. I'm going to, let's see, the Sin Ward expired. I think the tank is okay at this point now, so I'm going to go ahead and just put Life Bloom on the DPS. You can see how much harder the Wild Growths are healing for. So this is Wild Growth on the tank. Watch it. Well, it's hard to tell because his health is bouncing. Here, Wild Growth on Thunderforge. You can see how much. Did you see? That was half of his health. Again, Life Bloom counts for 3 stacks of mastery. So there, with Life Bloom on him, and then he had like a regrowth. That's 4 stacks of mastery. And then if he was in the Efflo, that's even more from Spring Blossoms. Spring Blossoms counts as a hot towards mastery. So let's get our maintenance out here. Life Bloom, Efflo. I'm sorry if I dropped some of the maintenance spells. I'm trying to talk at the same time, and sometimes I get focused on what I'm saying, and I don't play perfectly. Oh! So here we have time to DPS. I'm going to put down, let's get this kick, because that's going to prevent damage. I'm going to Barkskin into the tank. Alright, we're just going to start taking a lot of damage here because we pulled extra. I'm going to extend this Sin Ward on Gurchak. I need to have something to... Oh, no, it didn't extend it. I think the reason it doesn't extend is I'm not sure if the, like, pre-pop version of Sin Ward actually can be extended. I had somebody commenting on that on a video, and I think that might honestly be what it is. I haven't tested it, though. But the post-pop duration can definitely be extended. And I believe I've extended it more than once, so that theory's gone. And I'm not going to put down my Efflo because we're going to be moving here. Here, as soon as the tank stops, I'm going to go ahead and throw down my Efflo. While he's going, I'm going to put out my other maintenance. Life Bloom, Sin Ward. Let's get a kick. Apparently he was behind me. Get out some kitty weaving. We're going to dispel this on cooldown. And our life blooms are falling off, so let's go ahead and refresh those. That Sin Ward has not popped yet, so let's dispel. Oh, I pushed rejuve. Sorry. Don't do that. I mean, you can do that, but me don't do that because I'm trying to prove a point. Now, obviously, these are different pulls than it was at the beginning of the dungeon, but this has felt very safe. I've not really had any kind of panic heals that I've had to do. So hopefully with some bigger pulls here, we can experience a little bit to heal. Life Bloom, Sin Ward. I'm going to get out of this warp to use our clear casting on the tank here. I'm going to extend that Sin Ward. Let's use a Wild Growth. Get some kicks, get an Incap Roar. We overlap there. I'm going to focus on using my CC, group them all up. Get our Life Blooms back out, get our Efflow down. And we have time to see. We have time to DPS here. I'm going to use my Grove Guardians to cover any kind of gaps in healing. You know what? I'm going to go. I'm happy with my throughput without Convoke. I think I can go ahead and handle healing through anything that's going to come up in the next minute with just muscling through it. So I'm going to use my Convoke offensively. And let's get our maintenance back up. Life Bloom, Efflow. And you'll notice, yeah, we did have a little bit of downtime after the first boss, but we have a positive mana regeneration from 0. I have not used Innervate. I have not used mana potions. I have not used anything since I was completely on the first boss. He's starting to take some damage here, so I'm going to use Life Bloom on the tank. Let's use Barkskin on the tank, and then we can have our Life Blooms on somebody else. Incap Roar. And I'm not worried about damage right now to the group, so I'm just going to go ahead and DPS a little bit myself. As long as we're getting these kicks and stuff like that, we should be good. Alright, let's get our Life Blooms back up. We have some clear casting stacks, we may as well go ahead and spend those. Get some Symbiotic Blooms out on the group. Stealth here because we can. Let's go ahead and stun this target with our Stealth Rake so that we don't have to kick him for a while. And then I'm going to follow him up with a kick. Let's get our maintenance, so Efflow, Life Bloom, let's get this Dispel. Sin Ward on the tank, we'll go ahead and get our Grove Guardians out here. And use that to get some more DPS out. And we'll Convoke offensively here. I don't think I'll need it for healing. Looking for targets that don't have a rip. Let's get our maintenance back up, Life Bloom. I'm not going to Efflow because we're going to be moving in a second here. I'm going to Sin Ward though. And I'm watching that Sin Ward. If it pops from some damage, I'm going to extend it with my Swift Mend. There it goes. Extend it. Get our Efflow down. Let's get out of this frontal so we don't get cleaved by that. Kick with this Dispel. Treants are going to help cover while we do some kitty stuff. Incap Roar this Bolt. Life Bloom, let's get a Dispel on Gerchak. Sin Ward needs to go out. Once he takes damage, I'm going to go ahead and extend that Sin Ward. And we're starting to... Well, I probably didn't use Convoke there, but may as well. I was thinking we were going to take more damage there than we did. This kick. Oh, that was convenient timing. Looks like I planned that. Use the kick to counter the knock. Man, I'm so smart. That was just a happy accident. Incap Roar that until we get our kick. We can get that kick with this Dispel. Our maintenance is about to fall off, so let's refresh our Life Bloom, Sin Ward. Again, focusing on the DPS, because so far the tank has proven trustworthy, so I don't have to necessarily be needing to worry about him. If I was not trusting him, then I would be putting a bunch of extra hots into him. I would make sure that he's always one of my Life Blooms or my Sin Ward. Maybe putting in 2 rejuves on him and extending all of them with Swift Mend, etc. Okay, let's get our hots out, or maintenance, I mean. The Life Bloom,
Apotheosis in 15.
And I'm going to get those clear castings out. Working the spears. Let's not cleave each other. And I'm going to use my Grove Guardians to cover here. Let's extend that Sin Ward. And let's do some DPS. That's on me. I'm going to go ahead and Bark Bear. Air Bark. Okay, and here is the intermission, the heal check, getting everything out. So I've got...
Divine him in 15.
Got, oh, I should have extended that Sin Ward. It's okay. We're going to Convoke here as well. Okay, we're not getting cleaved by the lines. Okay, and here we're focusing on DPS. I'm going to pop a damage potion because I am not planning on using any mana potions this key to prove a point. No innervates, no mana potions. It's somebody commented on one of my videos. You popped your mana pot before you popped innervate? Stop watching. Like, okay, the point is, you don't really even need to worry about mana. Druid is so mana efficient that's why I have such bad habits with innervate, is because it's not like Raid where I've got it scripted into my ramps. I just kind of pop it if I know I'm going into a window where I need to prep the group for a damage event with lots of rejuves, but a lot of these vault level keys, you don't need to even do that. Your mana is such a positive gain. I'm not running Master Shapeshifter either. I'm not cat weaving to try to get my mana back before somebody puts that comment. Or do I think you need to? I do think that that is more necessary if you were, like last season, running a Keeper of the Grove build, and you're running more of a range style, because your spells like Wrath and stuff, Wrath, Moonfire costs 30,000 mana. Sunfire's 45,000 mana. Like, that's a lot of mana. Dotting everything up, you need to be able to have some mana regenerative stuff to be able to keep up with putting those out. Okay, so we got our Life Blooms out, our Sin Ward. Okay, let's get down our Efflow. We're going to use our Grove Guardians here. This guy's still taking some damage, so I'm going to put some regrowth. You saw how much that regrowth did into him when he had all those extra hots on him, especially Life Bloom. It's crazy. Like, your regrowths are actually really pushing up the health bars when you've got all this support underneath it. So when you're new to Druid, it's easy to look at something like Efflow and Spring Blossoms and stuff like that and be like, this is, I guess I can push it. I don't understand why it's so important. Because in and of themselves, they don't heal for that much. Like, Efflow is doing 4% of my healing is actually pretty respectable. Spring Blossoms, for example, a lot of people ask why that is, yeah, like, less than 1% of my healing. But again, the reason that Spring Blossoms is so powerful is because, more so than any other ability that I can really think of, it applies the most mastery stacks per one global than any other ability that I can think of. Because it just, anybody who's standing in Efflow, it just takes turns applying it to. Okay, let's get our maintenance down. Life Bloom, Life Bloom. I'm going to use my Sin Ward into the tank here. Get a Dispel on Thunderfudge. And I'm not going to be able to extend that, unfortunately. Yeah, with doing... Some people ask, how do you have time even to catweave and stuff? I feel like I'm constantly having to respond to damage. If you're doing your Life Blooms and your Efflow, and then I like running Sin Ward, but again, Abundance is a perfectly viable and probably more popular option. You know, it's... Oh, we're staying back here. If you're doing all that, you have time to DPS because those are taking care of a lot of the healing for you. So let's use our Convoke here because there's more healing that needs to be responded to than I have globals to do. We're going to use Incap Roar rather than focusing on healing because canceling all of those bolts that were about to come out is going to be way more than any other one global that I can push. Let's get out our Grove Guardians. We'll put down Wild Growth. I'm watching for being able to extend that Sin Ward on Gerchak as soon as he starts taking some damage. Let's put our Life Blooms on the tank, and I put it on me because I was taking some damage, but and the reason I don't put it on me is because I like having the blooms from when it's on somebody else, and also I trust myself to use my healing potions and defensives and stuff more than I do somebody else, because you can control what you can control, which is you. in your play. Okay, let's extend this inward. I'm not going to rip this, I'm going to Ferocious Bite it so we can get it down before the timer ends. And I think I've been successful. I don't think I've put out any rejuves other than that one that I accidentally put on the tank. Somebody in the comments is probably going to be like, nope, there was one at 11 minutes that you'd pushed. But I think I've done pretty good. And the point that I'm trying to prove with that is that you do not need to be panic rejuving everybody. Yes, that can be something that you can do rather than DPSing while you're learning a dungeon pool and stuff like that, but that is not the ideal way to play. And I tried to preface that in my beginner guide video, saying that, you know, this is a very mana-hungry playstyle. Yes, you can do it when you're unfamiliar and you want to make sure that everybody has some extra safety, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you mana and time. Resto Druid, in my opinion, in Mythic Plus, comes down to time and mana. So mana plus time equals infinite healing. Which means that if you have enough time before a mechanic, and you're willing to spend the amount of mana to put up as many hots as possible, think like the spinning plates mode, the video that I put out, then you can respond to and muscle your way through just about any heal check, almost without cooldowns, depending on the level of the key. Okay, so here I don't quite have everything up, so I'm putting my Grove Guardians in between my spells. I'm going to use my health pot because I was low there with the bolt that I took, and used Convoke to stabilize, but now everybody's got a ton of hots, so I can just focus on DPSing and just let my hots carry us through to the end. Make sure we move our F-Low so it's centered up on the group. Refresh our Life Blooms and our Sin Ward. Yeah, time plus mana equals lots of healing.
I will bring your works to ruin. Come and die or bleed in shame.
Apotheosis in 15.
What do your destinies offer?
The Bark Skin the tank. I'm going to use Trank to respond to this because I was a little behind prepping for that. Let's get our F-Low down. 2 Life Blooms. I missed extending that Sin Ward. I can do this one though. There we go. We're going to extend that. We'll go ahead and do a Wild Growth. Probably could have waited until the circles and stuff came out, because again, your value from your Wild Growth is all front-loaded within the first like 2 seconds or something. It's crazy how fast it drops
Divine
off.
him
So
in 15.
the better that you can line that up perfectly with the timing of the damage, the better. Your F-Low back down. By the way, that buzzing sound, that's a weak aura that I made for somebody in my Discord who's asking if I had some kind of trainer weak aura to help with F-Low uptime. And I'm going to be a little greedy. I'm going to save my my Convoke for damage here. I'm getting all my bleeds out. That way when I push Convoke, more of the abilities can be funneled into like shreds and stuff. And the nice thing about this build without Call of the Elder Druid is I don't have to worry about like DPS windows. I don't have to worry about you know, when I can use cat skills versus when I can't. Like right now there's no healing to be done. I can just go ahead and cat. I'm not having to worry about watching for those Call of the Elder Druid windows, which is why I've kind of started using this build a lot more. It brings Thrash and stuff, so I can still contribute a decent amount of damage in AoE pulls and stuff, but it takes out the fumbling with Call of the Elder Druid as a factor. I'm going to get my line here, and then I'm going to go invoke offensively. Oh, I probably should have saved that because we're about to hit the intermission. That's okay. Alright, we got our F-Low, Life Blooms. Let's get that. Okay, that's the end. Okay, So, let's look at healing and damage breakdown real quick. So, that freaked me out. Symbiotic relationship was on top. I was like, what on earth? No, it was scrolled down. That's funny. But yeah, regrowth, symbiotic blooms, bursting growth in your top. That's what you want for Mythic Plus. And then for my damage breakdown, bursting growth, obviously. And then mana throughout. I don't have. I'm not going to waste time messing with details here. Yeah, I don't have logs or something to show mana throughout the key, but I did not, throughout that entire dungeon, I did not push any innervates or any mana potions or drink. And so I wanted to showcase in the first, leading up to the first boss, that, you know, doing that playstyle unsupported by life blooms and unsupported by your F-flow and stuff like that, your rejuves and your regrowths are super underpowered. And then swapping to that focus on your life blooms, F-flow, and regrowths specifically, I mean, that covers the majority of what you need, and it's much more mana efficient. Hope this was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments, or you can check out my community Discord linked in the description. I check that and respond every day. And also, if you are interested in my UI or whatever, I have people ask about that all the time. All of my UI is also in my community Discord with links and a guide on how to set it up. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Adios.